Hey, it's Renee Keel, host of TradeIQ and Chief Operating Officer at BrokerBin, the leading B2B exchange for IT professionals, resellers, and wholesalers. I'm thrilled to introduce TradeIQ to you, the podcast that shares the economic stories of IT hardware resale. Each episode, I interview an industry leader who embodies what it takes to realize success in the ever-changing and highly competitive secondary IT market. What does it truly mean to be an ITAD provider? How do companies mitigate supply chain risks? How can your business thrive amidst changing market conditions that eat away at profit margins? Explore these topics and more on TradeIQ from BrokerBin.com. And while I have your attention, I want to personally invite you to attend a BrokerBin Roadshow. This biannual event brings together ITAD and ITAM providers, wholesalers, resellers, and service professionals all under one roof for 2.5 days of high-value networking. Join us in London this May and Nashville in September. Learn more and register at BrokerBinRoadshow.com. Dan Jones is the CEO at Shields Environmental, where the planet is at the heart of everything they do. In 1979, Gordon Shields started this revolutionary company with the goal of making environmental excellence a part of everyday business, long before it was the trend to do so. Dan joined Shields in 2005 and was appointed CEO in 2015. He describes his role as a change manager focused on the planet, people, innovation, and quality. He embodies the very core values that define the company's culture. Today, Shields manages 8 offices and 250 employees and serves telecom network operators around the world. Dan is based in the main office in the UK. On this episode of TradeIQ, Dan and I chat about what it takes to grow business with circularity at the forefront. We discuss the inner workings of change management, including what it means to think big but act small. We look back at how Shields has evolved through the decades and what's next for this truly transformative company. Good morning, Dan. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Coming at us from the UK.
Yep, east of London.
East of London. We are so excited to get back there. London is my most favorite city.
Well, the BrokerBin show's here in May, right? So
Yes,
we'll see you then.
Yes, cannot wait. I'm so excited. Well, thank you for joining us this morning. If you are ready to go, we'll jump right in.
Let's go, yeah.
Okay, let's do it. All right, Dan, tell us about Shields Environmental.
Okay, so Shields is a 45-year overnight success. We were founded by Gordon Shields on the 16th of August, 1979. And Gordon's short-term goal was to help one operator in one country.
Okay.
Since then, we completed that 20-year program with one operator. We created a mobile phone take-back scheme called PhoneBack, and that floated on the AIM stock exchange in 2005.
Amazing.
And today we're focusing on the telecom network space.
Yeah, that's great. And you joined the company in 2005, is that right?
That's right, yeah. So 2005, I was 21, and I just qualified as a chartered accountant. I was tired of looking backwards, ticking audits and looking backwards in practice. So I joined this company. I've only ever had 2 jobs, and love driving the business forward.
Wow, that's great. And so you kind of already answered this question, but so at the time you were working as an accountant, and then how did you find this company? How did you get involved here?
I had a secondment. So PhoneBack was just floating. All the resource was going with PhoneBack because that was where the growth was. And then what was left behind, if you like, is the network business, which we run today. And they needed some help. They needed, an accountant to come in and help with the books and records. So I joined. Gordon sat beside me. We had a chat. I didn't realize it was my interview. But effectively it was my interview. It wasn't very formal. And he liked me, I guess. He liked what I was doing, and he made me an offer to join.
That's great. And the rest is history.
The rest is history.
It's like 18 years, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Just coming up to 20 years now.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's awesome. And so what is the story about how Gordon started way back in 1979?
So he's a great guy. If you ever get to meet him, he's got this real passion for the environment, but also for business. He come across this fixed line carrier, and they were doing this modernization program, and he saw that they were removing mechanical switches. So he's very, he was very intrigued about the equipment that was being taken out, and he looked at the equipment and he saw there was some big environmental hazards on there. There was polychlorinated biphenyls, naphthalenes, mercury, really hazardous material that would go into landfill and be an off-balance sheet liability. And at the same time, he flipped it over and he saw there was gold, copper, silver, palladium on the contacts. So he basically realized that early on, to save the planet, he had to create this business case.
Oh gosh.
And the business case was basically avoid landfill, return precious metal money back to the operator, and almost project pays for itself. And for 20 years, that was the company.
That's incredible. And that was quite revolutionary at that time.
Yeah, in the early 80s, this is.
Yeah.
Everyone's talking ESG now, right? And but in the early 80s, Gordon saw it and started it.
That's amazing. That's awesome. So how would you describe the secondary telecommunications hardware market and your niche or Shield's niche within that market?
Okay, yeah. So I think firstly, I really want to professionalize the term that we use, right? So the word secondary, the word grey, secondhand, all these terms get thrown around. For me, it's about circularity and giving equipment a new life.
That's great.
So yeah, all hardware that we supply through our business is backed up with a warranty. It's been for our global test labs. And the market is huge. I believe that we could address up to 20% of a telecom operator's demand through refurbished, through circular equipment. And doing some quick calculations, the market sizing is about $6 to $8 billion industry. The linear model of always buying new, that's gone. We need to encourage people to reuse, as you call it, secondary equipment, refurbished equipment in our case.
Yeah.
And yeah, the market's big.
That's great. I'm actually we're going to start using circular equipment.
There you go.
Take a note of that.
So what makes us a little bit different to other resellers is probably our size and scale. We have a $50 million revenue business with 250 staff.
That's incredible.
Secondly,
are you all in the UK?
No, we have 8 global locations, so 3 in the US and 5 in Europe.
Great.
Secondly, is probably our quality. We have global test labs, so everything that we supply has been through our rigorous refurbishment and testing centers, and we offer a warranty on all that product. And then the last thing is we have digitalized our customer journey. We've just launched Marketplace. We just signed an agreement with the GSMA to take this platform to every telecom operator in the world.
Wow.
So yeah, 3 main things: size and scale, quality, and digital transformation.
Wow, that's wonderful. That's awesome. That's awesome. Impressive. And during your tenure, during your time there, what have been the top challenges and what have you learned from them?
Okay, there's many. I tried to boil it down. The first one I had was managing growth and scale. We've gone from this startup in 2005 within a bigger company. We probably had 20, 30 employees back then. So, scaling up the process, the quality expectations, every site has to operate the same. Global reach, in terms of time zones, languages, cultures. Also the culture within Shields, you add more staff, you're adding them faster. You've got to get the right family unit together. So really the first one was managing scale and growth. The second was keeping the right mindset, thinking big but acting small. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves. Every cost should be challenged. Having the money mind through the business. And then the last one I had was managing change. Our business is change. New technology in the network, old technology gets taken out. Change creates our business. And for most people, change is scary, but trying to make the most of that change is the last one that I come up with. It's what keeps us growing. Keeps you going. Yeah, exactly. And so within, any of those challenges that you just shared, or maybe something beyond that on a personal level, is there anything you can share through this process that you feel like has made you a better leader? In my personal life, I like investing, and because of my accounting background, I like researching and investing in companies. And I have an idol. You probably heard of him in the US, Warren Buffett.
Oh
And
yeah. Okay.
Buffett once said that being an investor made him a better CEO, but also being a CEO made him a better investor. So
Oh,
I like to think that the investing side has made me become a better CEO. You know, understanding what makes a company tick, looking at the results, changing direction, culture, vision.
yeah.
You know, all these things.
That's great. That's great. That's great. And what was your first big success at Shields?
Well, just as I was joining Shields, they created PhoneBack.
Okay.
That listed on the stock market. You know, what a great achievement for a small business to float a
Right.
company. I think
Right.
that the valuation was 23 million pounds sterling.
Wow.
Um, and that company's now called Blanco. So out of the Shields incubator, we created, you know, this Blanco data erasure business.
Yep.
Um, and I think that success, we took that business model, what the phone business did, we took that business model and have kind of springboarded that into the network space. So yeah, we've learned from the phone business, you know, the whole reuse, resell, recycle mindset. We've added to that, and now we use that model in the network space.
Incredible. That's so amazing. What a cool evolution. And so what surprised you in that journey, in that whole process that you're just talking about? What surprised you most?
Um, well, I quote a few famous people, right? Steve Jobs, he had this graduation ceremony, and there's a speech on YouTube. He talks about it's only when you look back that you realize some of the dots you were connecting.
Oh, sure.
And,
Yep.
and yeah, I think what I've realized is we started out by building what I call our fulfillment solutions. So we've got 8 global warehouses. Those warehouses can send engineers to customer sites. We can remove equipment. We can scan and triage it. We can store it. We can refurbish it, clean it, test it, and ship it.
Yeah.
You know, it's a little bit like Amazon FBA, right? Fulfilled by Amazon. They have all these facilities in the background, and you go on a piece of software and you order some kit, but all the magic in the background. So, you know, what the journey for me has been building our fulfillment solutions and then digitalizing the customer journey through the marketplace platform. And it's kind of the combination of the two that's just starting to happen now that you know is the exciting part of the journey.
Uh-huh.
Um, so yeah, what I've learned is that sometimes you have to do the right things and not always fully understand why you're doing them, but have faith
Sure.
in that by doing the right things they will connect. And
Yeah.
again, it's only looking back that you realize how things connect.
Yep.
Um, in my world, I much prefer to get started and adjust the course as you go rather than have a perfect plan.
Right.
Because if you wait for that perfect plan, you're procrastinating, you never start. And the only thing guaranteed is when you start, the plan will change. So,
Exactly. That's exactly right. Yeah.
you
And
know,
sometimes you just have to do it to know what's gonna
yeah,
come, what's gonna happen. You just got to jump in. I'm
get on the
assuming
journey.
I'm assuming was an exercise in patience. That's the lesson I always have to
Yeah.
learn.
I think later on I was going to refer to like the compound effect. Again, Buffett, the
Yeah.
small things, right every day, waking up on time, tying your
Yeah.
shoelaces, cleaning your teeth, silly things. But
Yeah.
actually, they add up. The compound effect adds up and
Exactly.
can lead to a big change over 2, 3 decades.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And so maybe this next question is very similar to what we were just talking about, but in terms of like lessons you've learned or wish you would have known early on. And
Yeah.
sometimes I think this question it's so tricky because we can't um had we known I mean, you'd miss the point. If you knew some of this from the beginning, you wouldn't
Yeah,
have this process and then you lose a lot. You know what I mean? So it's kind of, you
definitely.
can't really have 2020 looking backwards. But anyway, go ahead.
If I had some advice for my younger self, being 41 now, it would be to focus on a niche. And we went through a phase during my leadership of trying to be everything to everyone in the industry,
Yeah.
and we burnt a lot of energy, burnt a lot of money, trying to do everything for everyone and to please everyone. My
Yeah.
advice would be focus on a niche and be the very best at one thing, not trying to
Yeah.
be average at
Yeah.
everything.
No, that's great advice. That's great advice. I think trying to do all the things can be a real trap sometimes. Um,
Definitely.
and then you can't focus on any one thing because you're trying to do too much.
Too much. Yeah. That happened to us about 5 years ago, and
Yeah.
yeah, it was a
It's
big learning.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And so how much do you think about your competition?
Yeah, I think about them a bit. Generally, well, there's about a handful of our competitors that we super admire,
Hmm.
and I'm pleased that they're strong because it keeps us alert and striving to be better ourselves. You know, if we were the dominating force and the only one in the industry, it would be a bit boring, and I think we get complacent. So having strong competition is good. I do have another C word that I like to use for the competition, though, which is collaborators.
Oh, yeah.
So as we try to connect this industry is very fragmented and very separate. And my vision is to try and connect the industry, and we want to collaborate with our competition to do that. We want to work with the best partners around the world, based on their technology skills, their locations. This industry is $6 to $8 billion industry, as I said earlier, and there's room enough for a few of us.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do think about them. I admire a few. I won't name them, but there's a few that I admire, and I want to work more with them as we grow this industry.
Yeah, that's great. And you know what I think about too, even on our side of things, that if there aren't other organizations doing something similar or with a similar goal, who we could call competitors or collaborators, which is great, you don't have a market, like your market size will decrease, right? It's
definitely
better for the market. It's a healthier marketplace, the more people who are involved. So that's great that you can look at it that way. And what
we welcome competition.
Yeah. What makes your company then sustainable and resistant to big challenges in the marketplace or collaborators?
Just repeat that, sorry.
So what makes you guys, like what makes Shields sustainable and resistant to any big challenges that you may face or something coming at you?
So we obviously we've got our eyes open, right? Ears to the ground. We're always adapting, always having to change. We talked about that in terms of the industry creates change. What we find is that the environment, the E of ESG is at the center of our business model. So we are naturally saving the planet every day. We make money from reuse, from resale, from recycle. So that alone helps us to stay ahead. I'd say that's the key differentiator. The environment is in our DNA since 1979, and everything we do is with reuse and longevity in mind. So yeah, we've been here for 45 years. We'll be here for another 45 years.
That's amazing. I love it. That's so great. That's so cool. And so in order for you to go another 45 years, what motivates you?
Yeah. So I'm motivated by being better every day, right? Be it in my personal life, in my work life. I question myself every day. Question, are we doing the right things? What could we do differently? We talked about the compound effect. So some days it's just about getting it done and getting up and having that mindset. Some days you're pushing the boundaries. Some days you're just managing and coping. But my ultimate motivation is to help save the planet. This is a huge industry. Telecoms has a big impact on the planet, probably alongside your aviation, the car industry. This industry single-handedly has a massive impact on the planet. And my motivation is to change the way the industry works through reuse.
That's amazing. I love that. That's so cool. And what is something that you want to debunk about, like a common myth or something that you think people might think about your profession?
Okay, so I've got two here. The first one is a personal one. Accountants are not boring.
Okay.
So for any youngsters listening, the accountancy qualification, I feel, gave me great foundations and a head start in business.
Yeah.
The
and
other,
so when you were in school, like in the States, it's high school. Do you say high school?
Yeah, secondary school.
Secondary school. So when you were in secondary school, is that what you knew you wanted to do? You wanted to go into accounting?
I like numbers and I like maths. And I didn't want to go to uni and get debt, for my family. And so I left after my A levels. So at 18, I left education and went and did the chartered accountancy route. So it was kind of just a natural progression, like in maths, like in numbers, like in business.
That's great.
It was a good it was the evolution of what I'd wanted to do next. In terms of the question in the industry, to debunk a myth, this is quite a powerful strapline, but refurbished is better than new.
Okay.
So our warranty return rate at Shields is 0.4%. And if you think of new equipment, the out-of-box failure rate is probably something like 1%, maybe 2%. Brand new equipment. So refurbished equipment has been in a live working network. It's been taken out carefully. It's been retested and recertified. And then when we supply that, the initial failure rate has been taken out. So it's a bit of a crazy strapline, but refurbished is better than new. And that's a myth that I think the industry should debunk.
Can I use that testimonial?
Yeah, of course.
Put it right on the front of BrokerBin.
Yeah, let's do it.
That's great. I love that. I love that. And so thinking back to your the company culture, and you said you have 250 employees in 8 locations. Is that right? Yep. And so what are the core values that you really strive, Dan, to infuse throughout the company's culture, all of those people, all of those locations? What are your core values?
So, I'm quite a rule-based person. I like key messages. So we have posters around all our sites.
Great.
And when I saw this question, I was thinking about our brand values. So our brand values, we have 4. The first is the environment. It's at the heart of everything we do, and environmental responsibility is very important to our founder and shareholder, Gordon Shields. So the environment is number 1. Number 2 is our people. We care for our people and the planet. Health and safety standards, having a home, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, all these things are so important to us. So people is number 2. Number 3 is innovation. We have an obsession with technology, doing things better, doing things more efficiently. So we like to embrace technology and change. And then the 4th one is quality. That reputation of refurbished equipment, you don't judge a book by its cover, but people do judge a book by its cover. Your first impressions, this quality piece is very important. We want to drive the standards in the industry for quality. Yeah. So, our brand values of environment, people, innovation, and quality probably answer that best.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And so what does that look like in terms of your customer relationships? That obviously bleeds into your relationships with customers.
Yeah, we I sometimes moan at our team that we do too much for free for customers. But that is the culture we have. We want to please, we want to help, and the team don't think, are we charging for that, or are we charging enough for that? They just do things and get things done.
That's great.
Which I think is the compound effect, right? If you do that in the short term, then the long term will look after itself.
Yeah, that for sure increases your retention, and a lot of times that's that ends up being the core of your business, right?
Yep.
And so tell me what you believe makes a dream team.
Dream team. So no one's the same, right? We're all different, thankfully, and so we need complementary skills in a dream team. No 2 people are the same. Everyone has to bring something different, and it might be that you're good at organizing and having organizational skills. It might be you're the most technical person in the world. You understand telecoms, you understand AI, blockchain. It might be you're a good negotiator. It might be you're very commercial, but it might just be that you're happy and fun to be around. So to make up a dream team, I think it takes a mixture of people, and the skill to leadership is trying to put that team together. And picking the right people at the right time. Because nothing's forever, but the right people at the right time to achieve the journey. Yeah,
get that good mix. That's great. What's been the biggest surprise you've had in the last few months, or what's your greatest challenge currently?
Okay, so it's not really a surprise, but the biggest thing in the last few months is we just signed an agreement with GSMA to take our marketplace software to every telecom operator in the world. We launched that at Barcelona Mobile World Congress in February.
Awesome.
And the surprise really was just seeing how every operator in the world is on a net zero journey. So, reducing their scope 1, 2, 3 to 0. That was the biggest surprise, seeing that messaging from all the operators, and then realizing that we're on the right path. The dots are connecting. And we didn't know that 5-6 years ago when we started on that journey. So it was a surprise, but we have been working towards it.
Yeah, right. And your greatest challenge currently, is it one and the same?
The challenge is having enough hours in the day, I think, to get everything done.
Right. Yeah, that is the biggest challenge.
So I think you have to be relentless in distraction, and focus. Pick what's important. Almost leave behind some topics that aren't important.
Yeah.
But yeah, being a control freak, I struggle with that as well.
Yeah. That's great. Okay, well, you guys have been a member of BrokerBin since 2007. So you started in 2005. A couple years later, you joined BrokerBin.
Yep.
And can you tell us a little bit, and actually more this question, I like to pose this question more as you're obviously speaking to BrokerBin members, or this will be released to BrokerBin members. And so what advice do you have for other members to maximize the value of their membership or the this network, this connection platform?
Yeah. So first of all, BrokerBin is essential for our business. It provides, a gateway, a shop front, if you like, and a connection meeting place to all partners that we work with. So it's a massive industry. There's hundreds of partners out there, and BrokerBin was essential to connecting into those partners. The membership fee is one thing. It's a number on a piece of paper, but the value, not the cost. The cost is the number on the piece of paper. The value behind it is huge.
Yeah.
We found that it provides liquidity of stock. So, buy, sell, sourcing, liquidity. It's a very niche market. So, it's great that BrokerBin focus on that niche market. And my advice is that you spend time with your account manager. So Bob Welsh is our account manager.
Yeah.
And sometimes just shooting the breeze and just chatting about your challenges. Something always comes up, and BrokerBin normally helps. So yeah, I'd recommend it for any startups out there.
That's great. I love to hear that. And yeah, I would echo that your account manager is for any member the biggest asset we have. These guys have been around for years and years, and they know all the ins and outs, and not only of the site, but of what's going on with their clients
in the industry. And
exactly.
We always say that our biggest asset are our people, right? They walk on two legs. We don't invest in, well, we do invest in machinery, but we're not a manufacturer that has to invest in a plant. We have to invest in our people, and that goes to Bob. Bob's been great for us.
Yeah. Oh, good. I'm glad to hear. That's wonderful. And so anything that has personally inspired you, anything that you've read or listened to, Warren Buffett, Steve Jobs?
Yeah, exactly. So Buffett is my idol, and I enjoy, like I said, researching, investing in companies, and the investor CEO relationship, one leading to the other, and vice versa.
Yep.
The best resources for me is reading, learning, and I think Audible at £7.99 a month is a good investment. When you're in the car, you can, if you're in the car for an hour, you can put on a book and learn while you're driving, and you don't waste your time then.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I love Audible. I listen while I'm walking my dog, but then the neighbors pass by and I can't hear.
Yeah, exactly.
I have to say.
You got to be careful of the traffic, haven't you? Crossing the road and that.
Right,
but when I'm in the car and I've got a big journey, 4-hour journey, 1 hour, even 30 minutes, and you just want to be on your own, just stick something on and you learn. And
yeah, that's great. That's great.
It's the one, your mental capacity is one thing that never really runs out, isn't it? You can absorb, and
yeah, that's great. That's great. Okay, and tell us where we can learn more about Shields Environmental.
Yeah, so the best place to start is probably by LinkedIn, connecting with me on LinkedIn.
Okay.
Depending on what you're after, I can then point you in the right direction. So Daniel Jones, CEO of Shields, and connect with me on LinkedIn, please.
On LinkedIn, and I'm assuming your profile is complete on BrokerBin as well, so we can.
I hope so.
I'm
sure it is.
And you'll be at the roadshow.
We'll be at the roadshow in May. Yeah, I think we're a headline sponsor. So see you there.
Wonderful. We're so excited. We're so excited. So thank you for your time and for your sponsorship. And I can't wait to have a conversation in person in a couple months.
Likewise. Thank you for having me and allowing me to tell you about our great company that we've built over many decades. Thank you.
It's a great story. It's a wonderful story. All right. Take care. We'll see you soon.
Thank you. Thank you, Renee. Bye.
Thanks again to Dan Jones at Shields Environmental for joining the podcast. TradeIQ is a production of BrokerBin, the leading B2B exchange for IT professionals, resellers, and wholesalers. Subscribe to TradeIQ for new episodes as we share the economic stories of IT hardware resale from industry leaders who work tirelessly to expand asset life cycles and eliminate e-waste. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on TradeIQ from BrokerBin.com.